The two-factor code, that wasn't for me. The text arrived at 12:59 a.m., blue light slicing the room like a thin, precise blade. Your verification code is 744,193. Do not share this code with anyone. No logo. Just a number, an imperative, and the small thrill of a system trying to be certain. I wasn't logging into anything. The code hung there in the dark, blinking like a lighthouse that didn't belong to these shores. Beside me, Tess breathed with the even faith of a sleeper who has made her peace with the day. I watched the digits the way you watch a stray dog, affectionate, suspicious. Then a second text, 1 minute later, from the same anonymous machine. Your verification code is 311,872. Machines are punctual until they're not. I stared at the ceiling, the old plaster patient as ever, and let my job do its mean trick. I'm a systems analyst. People pay me to find the places where intention leaks. Two-factor codes are tiny confessions. I am trying to be someone. I am trying to enter a room that isn't open by default. At 1:02, my phone vibrated again. A notification from a private email we hardly use, the one we set up years ago for joint receipts and travel confirmations. New sign-in from Chrome on macOS unknown. If this was you, approve. If not, secure your account. Beneath it, 2 buttons. Yes, IT was me and secure now. I didn't touch either. I put the phone face down on the nightstand and listened to Tess murmur my name in her sleep, like a promise remembered too late. In the morning, the codes looked less like omens and more like chores. Daylight does that. Tess made coffee while reading a paragraph aloud from a student's essay about forgiveness as a kind of math. She underlined a sentence in the air with her finger. You can't borrow peace, you have to earn it. She handed me a mug. You were up late, she said. The internet tried to be me, I said, and told her about the texts. She frowned, then smoothed her expression with the competence of a person who believes in her own posture. Spam, she said. Weird night. My sister got 6 in a row last week and found out it was a loyalty app in Minsk. Loyalty to what? I asked. To the idea that you still exist, she said. That's what apps require. I laughed because it was gentler than the alternative. She kissed my cheek and left for the university with her tote and her air of being exactly the right amount of complicated for other people's children. I opened my laptop and did the thing I tell clients to do: check the logs. The alert had come from a device that wasn't mine, a Chrome session with an IP that traced to a co-working space near the river with handsome windows and a reputation for pretending it houses revolutions. Did you try to sign in from the river? I texted Tess. Nope, she replied. All day in office. My revolution is moving commas. I flagged the session, changed the password, set a new rule. Prompts must appear on my device, not in SMS that can be tricked. I told myself a smart story about scrapers and leaked lists and how if you pay me to worry, I should at least do it efficiently. Then noon arrived, indifferent, and a code arrived with it. 880,9024. This time the text named the account. Verification code for Safe Fold. I stared at the word. Safe Fold was a password vault we used once for a week, before abandoning it for the more ancient system called Remember Where You Put the Notebook. I called the number in the text. The robot was generous with instructions and stingy with answers. I hung up, annoyed at the elegance of a system designed to make you feel protected while refusing to tell you what you're being protected from. I walked to Loom because questions behave better in rooms that smell like oranges. Anna stood at the register, sleeves rolled, hair pinned, the scar on her wrist pale as a healed crescent. She looked at my face and poured water without asking. Two-factor, she said, not as a question. How did you? You have the posture of a man asked to confirm something he didn't do, she said. The city is a classroom. Patterns repeat. She set the glass down. Mara's in the corner. She likes those puzzles. Mara sat with her red scarf folded neatly and a notebook flattened by a rubber band. She did not do small talk unless it paid. I showed her the texts. She nodded, patient as a good violin. There are 3 stories, she said. 1, a bot. 2, a stranger using your number because it lets them pretend to be meticulous. 3, someone you know is using a recovery method tied to you. And the 4th, I asked. The 4th is the one you already believe and are testing me for. It's her. I didn't answer. She doesn't punish silence. She rewards it. If you want spectacle, she said, follow the code to its room. If you want intimacy, put your phone on the table at 6, ask for the truth, and don't audition for injury. Which one do you prefer? I asked. Intimacy ages better, she said. Spectacle gets better lighting. I carried my fear down to the river and watched the water bother stones that didn't deserve it. At 4, a new alert. New device added to safe fold. I pressed the link and was caught in the polite labyrinth. Name the street you lived on when you were 11. Tell us where your mother met your father. Prove you are made of answers. At the bottom of the labyrinth, a sentence I knew too well. A verification code has been sent to your phone. I didn't use it. I took the long way home and bought 2 oranges because citrus makes a room forgive people for returning with news. At 6, I set my phone face up on the table. Tess did the same. We watched them like they were pets who had trouble with boundaries. We need a new rule, she said. If a code arrives for something we didn't ask for, it belongs between us, not inside one of us. Agreed, I said. Tell me if safe fold is yours. She blinked and then let the blink become an admission. I made a vault last winter, she said. I wanted a place to store the passwords for all the selves I was practicing not to become. Someone found it, I said. Someone asked to, she said, touching the edge of the table the way you touch a pulpit when you're not sure if you're allowed to speak. He offered to help me declutter. It's the kind of verb certain men use when they want to own the neatness they think you need. Rowan, I asked, because the city only invents so many villains per season. She shook her head. Julian, she said, and the name passed between us like a coin that's bought too much and not enough. He said he could help me consolidate my cognitive load. He sent a link. I said no, and then I said yes, and then I forgot to rotate the permissions because the semester ate my hands. The phone buzzed. Another code. 220,516. We watched it arrive like a scene that keeps being performed after the director has already said cut. Do you want me to call him? I asked. Do you want to? She asked back. No, I said. I want to take the vault apart with you. So we did. We sat with laptops open like surgeons scrubbed for honesty and pried the vault open with the last code the robot would lend us. Inside, a catalog of doors she hadn't walked through, saved with titles that read like warnings. Metropole never again. Backdoor don't use. Hunger. Possible lives. The last one was a folder, empty and still named. I wanted to keep the words for a while, she said, self-disgust softening her voice. Names feel more obedient when you leash them to a password. I liked seeing them locked. You're allowed to be ceremonial, I said, and meant it. But not at 2 in the morning with a man who thinks locks are romance. We took the vault down while the radiator did its small opera. We exported the list, deleted the account, set fire to the export after printing 1 copy for the box where we keep artifacts that taught us. Then we set a new rule on the joint account. No phone numbers that don't belong to both of us. No devices grandfathered in because they once behaved. We did not feel virtuous. We felt like people who had moved a couch and discovered a stain behind it and cleaned it together without nomming it after anyone. Later in bed, I told her I was tired of being brave in the style that requires a witness. I want to be boring and shameless, I said. I want our loyalty to feel like a habit I'm too proud to quit. She slid closer and put my palm over her heart, not melodramatic, anatomical. You can want that, she said. I want the relief of not rehearsing regret. We undressed each other the way you open a familiar book to the page that has the part that always works. Eroticism lives where specificity does. The way she drew my hand down and pressed, just enough. The way I put my mouth at the hinge of her jaw and heard my name change shape. The way we checked in like we were tuning an instrument. Here. More. Yes. We laughed once when my sock refused to cooperate and she rescued me with her teeth, more to make fun of fate than to be cinematic. Heat didn't arrive. It returned, like a tide grateful for our calendar. When we came apart together, it felt like signing our names under a paragraph we had actually read. After, with the window cracked and the city trying to remember who deserves sirens, she said, I'm not pure. I'm not a judge, I said. I'm the man who wants oranges in bed. So we brought them, peeled them over a towel, let the sharp perfume overwrite the day. We made rules not as bars but as tools. 1. If a code arrives, the room gets it before either of us does. 2. If a man offers to consolidate your cognitive load, we consolidate his access into recycled paper. 3. Novelty is a chore. On my weeks I pick the wrong hour for the right thing. On yours you move the light until the room has to learn our names again. 4. When we miss the wrong version of ourselves, we say it out loud like weather. Then we do 3 ridiculous, ordinary things until the front passes. The next afternoon, I passed Julian outside the florist where grief and anniversaries cost exactly the same. He wore navy. Of course. He looked at me as if we were men who share a hobby. You fixed your problem, he asked, using the tone of someone who invoices for diagnosis. We moved our couch, I said. It was heavy, we're proud. He smiled the way you smile at a child who drew a house with no doors. Boredom will call you by your first name, he said. I'm listed, I said, and kept walking. He doesn't like to be behind. That night the phone stayed quiet until 12:59 when it buzzed with a code, the last vestige of a robot refusing to believe it had been dismissed. 5730. I showed it to Tess, and Tess showed it to me, and we put it in the trash with our fingers touching the glass at the same time, small superstition. Then she plugged my phone into the charger and said in the voice of the good assistant we could afford, "Okay, calling Evan." And I said, "Put him on speaker." And she did, and my voice came from my mouth, not from a system trying to be certain. Weeks found their rhythm. The co-working space removed the session. Safefold sent a polite goodbye as if breaking up with a subscription was an affair worth grieving. The box under our bed got one more piece of paper labeled Possible Lives empty. On Thursdays, we adopted a new ritual that made us laugh. We moved the couch 2 inches, sat on the floor, and watched the frame relearn us. On Sundays, we played a single song to the end before we did anything important. On the worst days, we ate oranges in the bath because stickiness is a reminder that bodies want care more than they want meaning. We are not pure. We are answerable and occasionally ridiculous and in our better moods precise. Sometimes 2-factor codes still arrive from old accounts and older appetites. We answer them together with the lights on, names correct, voices unrecorded, and a house that knows who gets in because we said so, not because a machine did. When the night tries to convince us it is smarter than us, We call each other at the wrong hour and practice being the answer the other person wanted some stranger to be. It is not security exactly. It is better. It is the door opening from both sides because we both have hands on the handle and we are not pretending to be anyone else.